Dato' Speaker, now let us look at the administrative policies and also at the executive and operational level at Sabah administrations. Dato' Speaker, let me take the town planning failures to illustrate my points. Ketua Menteri Negeri Sabah had a vision to make Sabah the next Dubai. Then CM must make sure that the town and the country planning is carried out as his visions. But it is not now at the moment. The town and the planning ordinance, Sabah Cap 141, was enacted 1950 with the main purpose to make provisions for orderly and progressive development. The key word is orderly and progressive development of land and towns and other areas. Since the ordinance was enacted in 1950, several town planning schemes have been prepared in Sabah, but very few have been approved by the Yang di-Pertua Negeri, and subsequently they are only gadgeted. Okay, in the case of KK, the draft and the approved schemes that have been previously applied to the parts of KK district are as follows. I'll read it out. First, Jessitan Long Range Zone Plan, 1954. Greater KK Scheme, 1977. Comprehensive Development Plan, 1990. Draft KK Local Plan, 1993. Draft KK Local 2020, which is the current gadgeted local plan applying to KK. It is a shame that the first and the only planning scheme that has ever been approved by Tuan Yang di-Pertua for KK, back then Jessitan, was the Jessitan Long Range Zone Plan, 1954. It was approved on the 30th July 1964 and subsequently revoked on the 16th December 1977. And ever since then, there was never approved schemes for KK or Sabah anymore. How soon can the latest statutory plans for KK and other 24 districts be approved by TYT, given that the last approved plan for KK was revoked 36 years ago? That was before I was born, 36 years ago. So because of the draft status, it was gadgeted, it was draft, it was never approved by TYT. Because of the draft status, it has left rooms for many undesirable occasions because people change it. It's inconsistent, it was never confirmed. So there are strong evidence that there are issues of a lot of non-compliance and illegal rezoning without proper consultation is being practiced with the draft KK local plan even today. In another word, the local authority does not comply with the governing laws. There are three current, I will give you an example, Dr. Speaker, there are three current and high-profile town planning cases which are being closely watched and followed by a large number of KK residents today. The first one will be the proposed 500 low-cost apartments units under People Housing Program PPR on land adjoining Austral Park, Kepayan. Well, before I got twist, let me explain. So why has the government approved the low-cost apartment development in an established middle-income neighborhood despite the land being zoned for a sport and recreation area for that neighborhood? Okay? So I understand that the housing is a priority and housing is the easy way for government to gain supports. But then the government cannot just do it for the votes. I'm not saying they are, maybe they are doing, but they should not, they should not do it for votes. They have the duty to consult the residents. In the case of the Austral Park, the residents are not consulted. Surely the 500 low-cost dwellings with 2,000 new people in the neighborhood will bring more traffic and increasing demands on community facilities, not to mention the likely social problems. The relevant authorities has also failed to explain who will be the intended and the targeted residents of these low-cost houses in Kepayan. Ministers need to show the list of approved applicants. Are they from Penampang areas? Or will the government transfer squatters from Telipok or Spangas into Kepayan areas? These are very important questions that has to be answered before the project can be approved. The issues of illegal rezoning, the lack of transparency, no public consultations has prompted the Austral Park residents to consider and form an action committee to consider legal actions to seek a judicial review on the same project. They are very keen. The second high-profile town planning cases is a proposed 15-story condominium happened in my Likas constituency. The residents have taken not one, but two legal actions against the DBKK to seek judicial reviews to the same project approval because there are concrete evidence to prove abuse of power. The third one would be Sri Gaya condominium case. The residents have also formed an action committee and preparing to take legal action against the local authorities. What turned out to be more interesting is that the action committee consists of the current and the retired civil servants who have been working with the government all their life, and they know exactly what are the laws to be applied in their case. I think the points to ponder here is that why would the residents from different areas who do not know each other, not related to one another, all separately decided to take up legal actions to seek judicial review on all the several project approvals? The Signal Hill, Siri Gaya, Offshore Park residents, and maybe more, all ready to take up legal actions against the government. So if there's one case, maybe we can understand. Maybe there's a misunderstanding, okay, technicality or whatever lah, you want to call it. Okay, but then when there are so many residents, maybe even more coming to stand against the government decisions, then the government must start looking at itself or herself and ask themselves, what has gone wrong with the administration? Something must have gone wrong somewhere. Okay, it all points to me, it all points to, Dr. Speaker, it all points to one conclusion: the town planning system has failed and has grossly been abused by the authorities. The government must look into the town planning failure issues with immediate, urgent actions before it gets worse than it already is. Breaking the law is simply not an option because this is disrespect of law and it shows bad examples to future administration. People will lose the confidence in Sabah governing bodies and the public bodies. And Sabah government must ensure that this does not happen. The Sabah state government, cabinets, the ministers, the relevant authorities, the Wakil Rakyat must comply with the laws because they are the gatekeepers for our community buildings to safeguard our progressive developments and ensure that it is done in the best interest of the people and future generations. But sadly to say that with all the cases that I have presented, the state cabinet, central board, and the local authorities appear to be making planning decisions in secret and also appear to be act in the interest of some sections in the public. Therefore, to actually minimize this.
Yang Muhammad Likas, tadi yang Muhammad cakap keputusan dibuat dalam keadaan sulit, sangkaan jahat itu. Yang Muhammad itu sudah itu in secret. Dewan ini sangkaan jahat itu oleh karena yang Muhammad mengatakan.
I tarik balik lah, Dr. Speaker. Thank you. Okay, therefore I propose that we follow what Singapore has done. What Singapore's Urban Redevelopment Authority, URA, has done. That is a new map-based register of planning decisions. Basically, they upload all the decisions online. It is an online map service where it enables the users to have a quick and easy access to planning decisions comprising of all the written planning permissions and the refusals of written planning permissions. Approval or disapproval, they also upload what is the reason and everything. They will upload it. So I can only see benefits when local authorities have online registered with both planning permissions and refusals. I believe that it will increase the transparency and minimize the corruptions and abuse of power. And will ensure that our Sabahan citizens, especially in KK City, are informed and are also given the right to comment when it really matters.
Muhammad cakap abuse of power. How do you macam mana membuat tuduhan abuse of power? Karena yang Muhammad duduk je. Dalam sistem kerajaan ni sudah tentulah kerajaan juga mengambil kira semua fakta sebelum mengambil keputusan. And in any democratic society, the citizen have the right to file any suit in the court. You see, that is their right. But kalau yang Muhammad mengatakan bahawa abuse of power, pada saya itu adalah satu kesilapan mengatakan bahawa abuse of power. Yang mana boleh memberi pandangan, but the word abuse of power itu pada saya adalah tidak sesuai lah. Demikian.
Thank you, Dr. Speaker. I will explain later lah, because I want to finish it, and I'll explain later to Dr. Speaker regarding the word why I use the word abuse of power. Don't worry, I'll use it then before you say it. Okay. If then Dr. Speaker think that it is still tidak sesuai, then tarik balik again and I apologize openly, but I'll explain later. Okay, I'll explain later for sure. Okay, wait. Okay, due to the
minta laluan, can you,
silakan.
why actually do you compare? Usually you compare always. I mean, KK to Singapore. Why? I mean, KK town and Singapore is totally different. That's a country, you know.
I know.
This is just a place in Sabah, a small place. I think what you want is to be like Singapore. I think we have to wait another 40 years maybe. I hope lah. I hope by 40 years time we'll have that.
No, okay.
But not now. Our
Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Muhammad, but it will be a shame because Singapore started like us, like forests. They are jungles when they started with us. But then today we still have to wait for another 40 years to catch up with whatever they started the same with us. So it's very a shame. But never mind, I don't want to prolong on that argument. I want to continue. Thank you. due to the improper town planning decisions, particularly in KK cities and adjoining districts, KK is fast becoming more and more unlivable. You know, KK is developing much fast in some areas than it needs to. Most of our developments are reactions to demand generated by speculations. Developers opt for high density and high cost condominium development. At the other extreme, our government, that means the government, appears to be rushing to build low-cost apartments and houses at the wrong locations, at the wrong scale, where such development can lead to social problems later. Well, later, let's not read. Okay, because the government, why do I say that? Why do I say that it's at the wrong place? Because the government has failed or is failing to take into considerations that even greater need for the low-income families to be near public transport, work, shops, schools, and other community facilities. I'll give examples. For instance, the low-cost houses built in Mangkatal, Telipok, inside, and Kiam Som, very inside, very deep interior. Have the relevant ministers ever considered how much of their income do the low-income families spend on the transportation, and how many of these families need to own a car only because there's no public transport, but building low-cost houses for them? Very fine there, you know. KK residents are suffering from horrendous traffic jams where workers, commuters, business people, mothers, students spend hours every day trapped in traffic jams, wondering why anyone would have voted for a government who is more obsessed with developments but blind to the traffic problems, the parking problems, the flooding, the poor roads, the very poor water quality, unaffordable houses, and so forth. Worse still, when the high-ranked government officers, they use police riders to actually open up roads, so they don't understand the pain of the people on the road.